Okay.
All right, the broadcast is live and on air. This is the Godless Guntard, and we have an admin from another Facebook Pro Gun page on the line with us. That's you, Sam.
Yep.
Okay, you're there. um, I guess we can talk about or the past week has been kind of crazy since the San Bernardino shooting. There's been a lot of authoritarian talk, and it's really this thing stretching along authoritarian lines from the anti-right side,
Well,
and there's
what, what I've really noticed that it's really convenient that they've lashed onto the terror list because these are the same people mostly who 10 years ago were talking about how horrible it was. That makes it really easy to point out their hypocrisy.
yeah. I mean, I was one of those people. Like I was one of those people that was screaming at George W. Bush about the terror watch list and the no-fly list, and about how illegitimate it was to take someone's rights away because of some secret list done in secret by the government. And now the same people that were on my side screaming at George W. Bush about it think it's the best thing since sliced bread, and they think it's actually a viable way now to to suspend rights of not only citizens, but the Constitution applies to people, and I find that very, very disturbing. And I think the other part of it that's kind of fallen in line here is, they've started screaming about Donald Trump and how he's a fascist and authoritarian.
They created him.
Yeah, I mean, they've created all these laws. They have latched on now to all these authoritarian and totalitarian laws and rules that created Trump, that create the ability for a Trump to exist. So when Trump says we want to take away rights from any Muslims coming into the country, he's using these same rules that they are now supporting to do that, to put those. He would use those same rules to put those policies into action. So if Donald Trump wanted to be smart about it, he could just say, "All right, I'm not going to stop Muslims from coming in, but what I will do is, when Muslims come in, I will put them on the terror watch and no-fly list. I will take all their names down. I will put them on this arbitrary. It's arbitrary anyway. Nobody knows if they're on it. You don't know if you're on it until your rights have been suspended. So at least they'll know that they're on it. So they're a step ahead of most American citizens." And he just puts them on the list, and he can take any rights away from them that he wants, according to the liberals now.
Due process is only good when it's politically convenient, right?
Well, rights are only good when they're politically convenient. That's the problem with freedom, right? I mean, it's very scary. It's a very scary prospect. One, that we're allowing people into this country who may or may not, or could be, or may not be dangerous, may not be radicalized. We don't know, but it's sort of, the chance we take being a free and open society. And it's also the same chance we take with allowing our citizens to own guns. It's sort of along that same line of thinking that freedom is a dangerous thing and it's kind of scary. And when it starts to get scary, that's when people start grabbing onto, those things that they can do that make them feel better about living in an unsafe place.
If deaths could have been prevented by laws that violate freedom, it is a cost that I am worth paying.
Yeah, and when you say that, people freak out. They're like, "Well, you're saying that all the deaths are, just a price we have to pay." And yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll say it. Yeah, I mean the deaths from gun violence and the suicides, all tragic, all unfortunate. Well, most unfortunate. I won't say all, because there are some people who deserve to be shot, and people committing crimes against law-abiding citizens. And when somebody uses a gun in self-defense, that's actually a very valid use of shooting someone to death. But I mean, for the most part, we're talking about victims of crimes that are shot and people who commit suicide. I mean, that's another tragedy, which consists of 60% of the the gun statistics we see from the anti-gun rights side.
And
So-
would they have not committed suicide if they couldn't find that tool?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, look at San Francisco, where they just go up to the Golden Gate Bridge. They had a whole documentary on that in San Francisco. People go to San Francisco it's like suicide tourism. They go to San Francisco and jump off the Golden Gate Bridge.
Look at Japan.
Yeah, Japan and their suicide epidemic. But they have no guns, so how do they commit suicide?
A lot of different ways.
They have the old what's it called? The Harry Carey.
Yeah, that seppuku.
Yeah, seppuku. Yeah. So maybe we should start banning sharp edge weapons, just to make sure people can't hurt themselves. Britain is already on that track, so
Yeah, in Britain now they're trying to ban kitchen knives with rounded tips.
it sounds like a bad joke.
And they've gotten professional chefs to say, we don't need this.
Yeah,
Just like they get, I'm a hunter. I don't need this kind of weapon.
oh, fucking FUDs. The
Yeah.
worst. I would disown all the FUDs in the gun rights movement. They have no place.
Yeah.
You aren't on the side of doing what I'm trying to do. As a matter of fact, you're a detriment to it sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the FUDs can fuck off. If you're supporting us, that's fine. But if you want to go talk about how nobody needs a semi-automatic rifle to hunt, you may be right. I don't know. I'm not a hunter. I've never hunted, but I own plenty of guns, and none of them are for hunting. Maybe I could use the 30-30 for hunting, but I wouldn't.
Sometimes I feel like I'm almost willing to accept a total ban on hunting just to show that those FUDs aren't welcome.
Yeah, you have to have guns that are capable of fighting tyranny or oppression or self-defense. Just ban all hunting rifles. That would go over real well.
Yeah.
We would lose a lot of people. Yeah, but I mean, we were talking about the suicides, right? So like suicide in Japan. Do you have any stats on that, or what their suicide element looks like in their country?
I can't think of it right now, but there's also this one forest in Japan where something like every second tree has somebody hanging from it.
Oh yeah, the suicide forest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. And then today, the House Oversight Committee. So Trey Gowdy, a Republican, a person I am not inclined to agree with on almost anything, laid into the I think it was a DHS representative, a DHS official. He basically asked her, like, what process does an American citizen go through if they're put on the terrorist watch list or the no-fly list? And she's like, well, she just stammered, like she had no answer. He's like, the operative word there I used was process, because we have something we have here in the United States called due process. And you can't deny rights just based on some secret list. That's the way we do things here. So now they've got me agreeing with like the most right wing.
That guy.
Yeah, Trey Gowdy. He kind of looks like a vampire. I think he was a former military guy too, but yeah. Every time I see him, he's kind of looked like the lead vampire in any vampire movie you'd watch. So I've not really trusted him, but he brought up a great point about the 8th Amendment. He's like, so what rights can we deny based on this secret list? So can we deny people the 8th Amendment right? So now we can, levy harsh punishments against them. They're outside of constitutional bounds. I'm like, that's a pretty good point. Maybe that makes torture legal. So if we put somebody on that secret list, then we can torture them. We can deny them a lawyer. We can allow them to not speak, not have a religion. Their religion doesn't matter at that point. Not allow them to speak at all. I mean, he went through this whole list of things. I thought it was pretty funny. He really really went at him. And I find it scary that I'm agreeing with these people and not the people that I thought were on my side.
Yeah. Wikipedia says that he's not former military.
Oh, Trey Gowdy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a former prosecutor.
Oh, okay.
And that's... Oh. And I really hate that guy aside from things like this.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the problem with all these people, right? I mean, pretty much hate all of them except for this like one little niche we're in now where we agree with the most right wing people. And these are people saying the same things now that we were saying 10 years ago. So I don't know who to be more angry at, the people that were on our side and have flip-flopped to supporting this stupid bullshit, or the people that weren't on our side and are now supporting and now are not supporting the stupid bullshit. Like it's just a whole fucking mess. Who do
I'm
you support now?
more
Who's on our
inclined to hate the people who betrayed us rather than the people who realized that they were wrong about something.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, betrayal is a more heinous act than changing your mind, or getting new information and making a new determination about something. But when it's something like this, it's like you're denying people rights based on a secret list done in secret by the government, and what rights are you going to deny them? And people get angry, like the Moms Demand Action, the Xanax housewives on Boxplain get very angry about, oh, you just want terrorists to buy guns? No, they're not a terrorist, because if they were a terrorist, they'd be arrested. What I'm saying is I don't want the government to deny people rights based on some secret list they made up in a secret room without anyone knowing. That's what I want, and I would want that for you as well, even though you're not on my side.
I would go so far as to say that anyone who is not currently in prison should be assumed to be trustworthy with a weapon.
Well, yeah. I mean, we have, for the most part, most guns are sold with background checks. So it's there are not many private sales. And when you talk about gun shows, I've been to dozens, and this is anecdotal, of course, but dozens of gun shows, and I've never witnessed a sale without a background check. Now they may be doing it in the parking lot, unbeknownst to the runners of the gun show. But I know everyone I've been to, I've bought guns at gun shows, and I've had to do a background check at the gun show to get my gun. As a matter of fact, I couldn't buy one in Virginia because it had to be transferred to Maryland, and I didn't have the correct identification since I had just moved. So they said, yeah, we can't sell it to you because you don't have correct address on your ID.
So, you know how they like to pull out that statistic that something like 40% of sales are without a background check or something?
Yeah.
That comes from the early 90s, from before that Brady law was passed that required those background checks for FFLs. So they're just lying by using a very old number that does not apply at all to the current situation.
Yeah, it doesn't apply at all because we've put new laws in place since then, more draconian laws. And it wasn't a statistically significant study. It was 251 people that were surveyed.
Yeah.
Not statistically accurate. They surveyed 251 people in one little place. I mean, that makes absolutely no sense. It wasn't a good survey, first of all, and it's.
I'd go so far as to advocate that we eliminate the whole FFL system and all sort of background checks and stuff, but that's not going to happen.
No, that is, if you want to see people ride in the street, that would be one way to do it.
We have to work incrementally. just like the other side is trying to do.
Well, the anti-right side is they're all one and the same. Like it's the anti-gun rights people are the same as the anti-abortion people. And they're using the same tactics and the same strategy as the anti-abortion people. I mean, look what they've done in San Francisco, where they had that one gun shop that has now closed down. And it was the only gun shop in San Francisco. So, I mean, it's the very same thing in Texas, where you have to drive 400 miles to get to the nearest Planned Parenthood or abortion clinic. If it was up to me, I would open up a marijuana dispensary / gun / abortion clinic that were all right next to each other, and I would just do all of that business right there, and I would own it all, and I would make all kinds of money.
And you'd make all kinds of hilarious enemies.
Oh yeah, and then everyone would be mad at me, and it would be awesome. I'd be protested by everyone, which is good business. Did you see the news? What happened at that gun store in McLean? I think it's McLean, the one they were protesting.
Which one? Yeah, that one. I didn't see anything since last week.
Yeah, they had a couple of handguns stolen.
Oh.
Yeah, the alarm went off at 12:35 in the morning. The owner went there, and there were 2 handguns missing.
That's not good.
Yeah, especially after your store was protested by the people in the surrounding area.
By the county government officials who conspired to shut it down.
Keep getting beeps.
Say again?
Keep getting dings. I don't know where they're coming from, but let's see. No. Oh, and then so not only do we have the federal government, but now we have state governors that are going to take action into their own hands and put their own ban in place, according to the terror watch list and the no-fly list.
You talking about the Connecticut guy?
Yeah, Mr. Malloy.
Yeah. So, I have an internet friend. He's a fucking communist. He's in Connecticut, and he's talking about how horrible this is. A communist.
Uh-oh. I think he's here. Which one? Eric?
Hello, Eric. Hello, other Eric.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing? Oh, he's muted now.
There we go. All right.
Okay, figure out which ones we got.
I'm in a kind of a austere circumstance, gents. So is my mic actually working?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Sweet. We might get joined on air by Ivy. I'm dog sitting tonight, which is why I don't have my usual recording set up. I'm normally recording for a podcast, so I have all the good toys, but not tonight.
Yeah, I was late today. I didn't check the right email box, and then
Boy,
we've got some packing materials out for the cats to play with, and apparently one of them was getting mad that we haven't taken care of his cat box in a little bit, so I had to clean that up too. Fun stuff.
well, it's like I said, cats don't have owners so much as they have staff.
Yeah, he left a really negative comment card today, that's for sure.
Hey, at least did you drag it onto your bed? I mean, that's...
No, that would get the bedroom door shut on him.
Okay, so who do we have in here from what? just to clarify before we go, or we are live now, I guess.
Yeah, we are live. We're broadcasting now. I'm the godless guntard. I'm from fucking Liberals Against Gun Control.
Yeah, I'm Sam.
Fucking A.
And then Sam. The armed proletariat.
Yes.
Your
and-
microphone screwed up again.
And Seawolf, right?
Yep, Seawolf from Rifles and Reason.
From Rifles and Reason. Okay. So we have everybody in here. Well, we were just discussing the terror watch list and the no-fly list.
Oh, yeah.
There's
The
nothing more
president
aggravating to me
doesn't-
than that.
Can I just point out something connected to that blows my fucking mind?
Yeah.
The Democrats in Congress, and this is just kind of liberals in general right now, and liberals in this country are more prepared to fight the NRA after a terrorist attack on American soil than they are to fight terrorists. What country am I living in?
Yeah, and they're going at the NRA full steam. It's this they're Don Quixote.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, they're definitely tilted at windmills, but it's just psychotic. We got attacked by a foreign group. Last time that happened, I kind of remember what was happening. I was fucking 11, but you know what? I remember. We immediately proceeded to at least fuck somebody up. Might not have been the right guy, but we certainly went and jacked some dude up.
Well, we
Yeah,
started.
now we
And
jacked
then
up
we jacked the
the
second
14th
country up.
too.
But you know, what is this shit that they're like? Oh, it's all the NRA's fault.
Well, it's actually
They're
worse.
terrorists.
It's
The
actually
fuck
worse
do you
because
think
we've got a
happens?
bunch of folks that thought that the terrorist watch list and the no-fly list were horrible 10 years ago, and all of a sudden it's a great weapon to use against folks that want to be their own first responders with effective tools. It's like, yay!
Yeah, that's the other thing I don't get. The Democrats
Yeah, they were against it
despise
before they
these
did
Bush era
for us.
terror policies, and now they're sucking them off like they got candy coming out their dicks.
Yeah, I don't know who to hate more. I don't know if I should hate the liberals that were with me 10 years ago yelling at George W. Bush, or hate the Republicans that I'm having to agree with now about this thing. But they're the ones who put it in place.
I would go with the ideological traitors because hypocrisy is always a little more disgusting.
Yeah.
Hypocrisy is worse than people have come to see reason on the matter.
And I mean, that's what's really bothering me, getting onto a more serious train from that. And the entire point of our team, you know, Rifles and Reason, is we're trying to bring reason to the gun debate. And while I am an asshole, professionally, actually, and I do a lot of, you know, shaming posts because people frankly deserve it, we always back our stuff up with, you know, all these resources. And even when it's like CDC resources, you know, the 2013 gun study, everyone likes to forget happened because it, you know, proved they were wrong. God forbid I bring a fact to this, and they're like, no, that's clearly, that doesn't fit my bias. It's become an ideological thing, and I'm not quite sure how to bring reason back into an ideological debate.
That study keeps them from pretending that the CDC is not banned from doing research. The CDC is just banned from falsifying information to advance a political agenda.
Right. I mean, the major effect of that amendment is they don't get funding for it easily. So it's not even close to a ban. And that's just, you know, an example of media doublespeak in action.
So, Seawolf, where do you come from? I mean, I think you are from the Great White North.
I am from the actual America, so I'm out west.
Okay.
I was born in Arizona and spent most of my time in Colorado. I have lived fucking everywhere, though. I did a couple of years in the Marine Corps, and in roughly a 3-year span, I went coast to coast and border to border about 4 or 5 times. So I was playing national ping pong for a while there.
Is that just going from different places for the hell of it, or?
Various training. Then after I got out, I actually sold toy soldiers for a living, which that's what I like to talk about. I'd rather be talking about, you know, nerd shit or world military history than have to, you know, do this and talk about gun rights all the time. You know, people get at me about it in my personal life, Why do you harp on this so much?
Well,
Because it's really fucking important.
that's why I started the page, because I was losing people in Facebook because of my gun posts. Like the people who were with me, you know, when I was, oh, fuck Bush and whatever for a long time. And then all of a
It's
sudden...
got to be harder when you're an actual, like, diehard liberal.
Yeah, I thought I was. I don't know that I am now. But
I think the great thing about the gun debate is it's showing more and more people that they're more or less libertarian, or at least independent, and that the two parties are absolutely fucked.
yeah, that's what it's fucking shown me, is that I'm not who I thought I was. You know, I shouldn't have been so happy to accept that label and everything that came with it.
Yeah, definitely. Eric and I first encountered each other through the Daily Kos.
Or as I like to call it, the Orange Hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, Daily Kos. Oh, God.
Most of those guys are idiots.
Most? You're being
They're
a little
ideal.
generous there.
There were at least 15 of us that weren't.
Yeah. Most of us have been driven out, though.
Yeah.
The purges.
A buddy of ours that's up in the UP, who's still relatively liberal these days, is still involved there. I don't know. I've asked him to stop sending stuff my way when he puts up a diary, because I'm off my hypertension meds and I kind of like it that way.
You talking about Kyle?
Yeah.
I've started backing off, actually, outside of doing work for the page where I can really sit down and just write an article, or occasionally make a quick meme to mock someone who deserves it. I've really had to start backing off because the same thing as you, other Eric, is I'm getting freaking heart failure out of this shit. I'm 25 and I'm on a bunch of medication already. I really don't need to be stressing myself out more. My shrink will freaking hang me, ironically enough.
Yeah, I have to thank my teenage son for helping me learn how to fight battles and what to not die in.
Pick which hills to die on. Don't die on the worst ones.
Yeah, exactly.
I mostly stopped going out of my way to argue with people because it's really not that fun anymore.
Yeah, I've started advocating, and I don't know how closely you guys look at our page at all, but I've really gotten active in advocating the pigeon doctrine. Namely, don't play chess with a pigeon. They're just going to shit on the board and strut around like they won anyway. There's a lot of goddamn pigeons out there, gentlemen. Yeah. It is not worth your time.
Do you have any trolls on your page anymore? Because when I first got involved, there were a bunch of anti-gun trolls.
We've got one guy on there right now who doesn't know how to read because the questions he's asking are literally answered by the meme he's trying to troll on. Because I got a section from Title 10 of the United States Code with references to Title 32, section, I believe it's 313. So basically it's the definition of the militia.
Yeah, the Dick Act.
Right. So when you go out to Title 32, Section 313, what it does for guys like me is it extends the age of active unorganized militia membership to 64. So if you're a veteran of the armed forces at all, you're in the militia until you're in your mid-60s. And he's like, well, ooh, that's the National Guard. Dude, if you're eligible for membership in the organized militia, chances are you count for the unorganized militia. Let's just put one and one together and not get potato, okay?
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering about that. Does that extend to a 2-year dep that got PDQ'd?
You got a DD-214, maybe.
Need to talk to your recruiter about that.
Yeah. Check with a lawyer on that one.
Your local militia.
Probably out in 2 then otherwise, so... Yeah, have fun.
I think by the time that they're calling up the unorganized militia, no one's gonna give enough of a shit.
Yeah, pretty much. By that point, we'll have we'll basically live in a Bethesda post-apocalyptic nightmare, I think.
Yeah.
By that point, our area, Marcus, will look like it does in Fallout 3.
Yeah, there you go.
Pretty much. Yeah. So, I mean, I've done my military service. I really don't want to, but I just read an article where in 1942 they called up the Maryland militia. They called up an organized militia of all armed men to protect the coast because they were afraid of U-boats coming up to shore, and everybody was deployed to World War II.
Yep.
So they called up all armed men.
There's another good example of that, actually. Well, it wasn't quite an organized call-up by the state or even the county, but I'll always harp on one of my favorite stories, the Battle of Athens, Tennessee. Yeah, you gentlemen familiar with that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
total teachable moment for a lot of folks.
Yep. I mean, it's one of those things where you look at it and people are like, well, we've never used the Second Amendment. Yes, we have. Oh, yes, we have. Well, that was just once.
Well, what
Great.
happened
What
at
if
the
it
Battle of
happens
Athens?
So short version is right after World War II in McKinn County, I believe it's McKinn County, Tennessee, centered on Athens, Tennessee, was under the hold of some rather unsavory political types. There was a guy who was pretty much stuffing the ballot boxes so that either he or one of his cronies was either in a state house seat, the sheriff, or one of the other major positions of authority. And the cops were actually getting paid kind of like cops are now in certain jurisdictions. So you draw your pay based on how much money you bring in for the county, like direct head count style stuff. So pretty jacked up. So when the veterans got back from World War II, they determined that they didn't like that, and they tried to initially break the deadlock by peaceful means, which is where the voter fraud really came into play. So they pretty much staged an armed rebellion and took back control of Athens, Tennessee.
Damn.
And forced open elections. So basically what we see in South America, except it actually worked.
Yeah. And of course, my favorites, being a lefty as I am, is the Ludlow Massacre and the Battle of Blair Mountain.
Yep.
Where Pinkerton guards were actually called in by the government, like a privatized military force was called in. Not only that, but National Guard and active forces as well to squash workers' uprisings for getting a decent wage.
I'm from Colorado, man.
The Battle of Blair Mountain was the first time the predecessors to the U.S. Air Force bombed anybody.
Actually, that was Black Wall Street in Tulsa.
Oh, in Tulsa?
Really?
Yeah. Blair Mountain is also where my nom de plume on the Facebook page sort of the majority of his million votes that he got against Woodrow Wilson from jail. He spoke to the miners and basically told them that since the bankers were more than willing to use their Second Amendment rights, that the miners had to stand up for themselves and utilize their Second Amendment rights for self-defense. Within a week of that, they had the historical Mother Jones out there.
Yeah.
And I love going on the Mother Jones editorial page and pointing out to them that a little old lady with a handbag and a .32 revolver would pistol whip each and every one of them.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, it's interesting to bring up the Ludlow Massacre because that's semi-local to me, actually. And, I mean, there was a whole segment there called the Colorado Labor Wars from about 03 to 04. And, yeah, I mean, the bulk of that was the Pinkertons, Baldwin Felts, other detective agencies like that, and the legit no-shit National Guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, the majority of the Ludlow Massacre was perpetrated by the Colorado Guard. That was also a place where, that was really the place where Mother Jones first got interested in labor that wasn't involving kids under the age of 12. She was really mostly involved in child labor disputes, trying to get child labor laws passed, and then she visited Ludlow within a couple days of it starting and was out of there shortly before the final push that killed, 25 women and children in the fire?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I got into it with some idiot on a quote-unquote pro-Second Amendment page who said he was glad that the commies were killed. I almost went back on my meds after that.
Yeah, I mean, there's...
He told me for 3 months on different pages after that. It was insane.
There's people who in both sides of the community who really need something better to do with their time.
He really did.
Yeah, I mean...
It really irked him when I pointed out to him that the rifle on the wall was written by a British socialist.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the weird thing that I don't get about liberals, and Liv, maybe you can give us some insight into this because you've lived in their camp. If you go back to kind of the ultimate liberal icon, Marx, in the 20th century, he was big into guns. Like, I thought I was into guns. Marx is into fucking guns. That dude is so pro Second Amendment that he could have easily been buddies with the guys who wrote it.
See, that's the thing. Most liberals, I don't know if you've seen the XY axis political map. Most liberals tend to fall towards the midline on the Y. They're not really libertarian in any stretch, and a lot of them are actually to the right of the on the x-axis as well.
Honestly, I mostly think of them as being well above the midline to as authoritarians.
Yeah, they typically are in the negative x, but not probably past like a 2 or a 3. Whereas I'm down in the somewhere around -5, -6, hovering somewhere near anarcho-syndicalism, anarcho-communism, and anarcho-socialism. I have a problem with authority figures, it seems.
Yeah, it's really weird for me that I actually have more in common with communists in certain regards than like Democrats in my own country.
Yeah,
Well,
and I have more.
there's a reason for that. It's called the Whig Party. When they got destroyed, the Democrats and the Republicans had a split. Otherwise, it would look like we only had one party. Which, well, I guess the argument can be made.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Well, what's the Lewis Black quote? The American two-party system is a bowl of shit looking in the mirror at itself.
I like Lewis Black. He's good.
Yeah, I'd say he's my spirit animal, but I'm not a 12-year-old girl, so.
his rage can be encompassed, and if we could harness his rage and turn it into something constructive, that would be nice.
Fuel.
Yeah, bullets. Yeah, so I mean, I spent a long time. I guess I'm more libertarian left. Like, I don't care what you do with my money, but you can take my money and use it to help people. I don't give a shit, but give me my rights at least. And unfortunately, the sort of thing that happens is those movements become more authoritarian. I posted a link about the authoritarians. I don't know if you've ever read. It's a really short book by a Canadian professor, Bob Altemeyer. And he talks about the authoritarians. And I originally read this during the Tea Party movement and when the Tea Party was coming to power years ago, 2009. And he lays it out how the Tea Party is a very authoritarian movement. Now, if you just go back in there and substitute what we are now calling the regressive left, the leftist regressives, the anti-rights regressives, the authoritarians, I mean, they hit all the benchmarks that the Tea Party were hitting for authoritarianism and totalitarianism. And they're now one and the same, and they're hard to distinguish from one another, especially when it comes to things like rights, and especially gun rights, because they found the one right that, the people on their side don't give a shit about for the most part, and that they can pick on and that they can pull away at, and nobody on their side is going to fault them for it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem I have with the left right now.
I mean, who wants those?
Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, not in my backyard. It's the thing with the gun shop up where Sam is from. They had a gun shop up there, and it was deemed to be too close to a school for the government officials up there, so they protested against the gun shop being there.
And the government officials did some backdoor shady stuff to try to get its lease revoked and stuff like that.
That's the authoritarians, totalitarians. They'll do whatever it takes to make sure that the world that they see they want to exist exists. No matter if it infringes on rights, or they don't care about rights, they care about winning.
Yeah.
And not like Charlie Sheen winning.
See, that's where, and this brings us right back to what you guys were talking about before I came on, regarding the process that's kind of going on with the terror lists. Okay, disagree with me on the Second Amendment if you want. You're wrong, but you can disagree with me. But going after due process? Are you out of your fucking mind?
Oh, that'll never get misused. I mean, geez. Only the good on our side will ever have power. I mean, just wait to see what happens with the filibuster in the Senate.
Look how well the Patriot Act worked.
Yeah, it'll never be used against us. So they're taking the one thing away from us that we use to protect all of our other rights. So, I mean, you can whittle away at the First Amendment and then whittle away a little bit at the Second Amendment, and you can make concessions on that, but making concessions for due process, the very thing that allows us to stand up and say, hey, the government is doing something wrong, and I need the government to tell me exactly what I did wrong and charge me with something before they take away my rights, they want to take that away. And it's not a mental process that I can wrap my head around.
Yeah, that's one of the things that gets me kind of bumping on the edge of vanguardism. I firmly believe that our rights don't exist in the street, and it's been proven to us several times. Our rights exist in the courtroom. So all these people are like, oh, my rights, my rights. It's like, yeah, go out in the street and start complaining about your rights and see what happens. You'll end up having to defend them in the courts because you don't get any traction in the streets without any help. And a couple months ago here, they had the open carry walk in. Oh yeah, just so you guys know, all the fun that was happening in St. Louis last year was at points between 5 and 7 blocks from the house that we were living in. So I'm basically in the Ferguson area, so I keep very close tabs on what goes on around here. And yeah, we had some interesting times for the Oath Keepers recently. It turns out that the heads of the Oath Keepers are more interested in keeping their police support than their frontline support. So when 4 or 5 guys from the greater St. Louis area decided, hey, you know, we need to show Black America that they have the same rights as we do in the streets, they ended up basically getting kicked out of the Oath Keepers and started a group called the Yeti. Now, I'm not sure exactly what Yeti stands for. I know it's it's a shortening of several other words. I think it's more like the cooler, to be honest, but I don't know. But yeah, they actually did stage a walk here. There was 6 of them, and I think 2 or 3 black folks showed up to wander around with rifles. And unfortunately, one of the guys got a patrol rifle with no optics on it, so it didn't exactly look that great when he did it. But yeah, it was interesting. I mean, nobody died, nobody got arrested, nobody got hurt, and nobody knew about it.
But you
I found out about it because I'm actually peripherally involved in the legal observer movement to kind of keep tabs on how the police interact with protesters. I haven't had a chance to go out, largely because most of the stuff seems to happen when I'm at work, much like that open carry march. Otherwise, I would have been one of the LOs out there in a green hat watching the whole thing go down without any police problems because, jeepers, people were using state law for their benefit, and nothing bad happened.
That is the weird thing, because I noticed during Texas, all the hullabaloo down in Texas with regular open carry demonstrations, only Open Carry Texas got reported on, and the only footage they would show of those guys is shots that showed whites, when Open Carry Texas is a pretty diverse group, and there was a, I believe, all-black group doing marches at the same time that didn't get any coverage at all.
Yeah, the Huey P. Newton Gun Club.
Yep.
I've actually been following them fairly closely. I'm right at the peripheral edge of like the John Brown brigade and stuff like that. So folks like them are actually very interesting to me. I mean, I've been a long-time supporter of the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, the one that got broken up by COINTELPRO, as opposed to ones that like to get used by the media and the government to show how horrible and radicalized the blacks are and how we need to keep putting them down. Even they have gotten better over the last year. I actually got to briefly speak with some of them in Ferguson, and they seemed happy I was there as a not black person. It was kind of weird, considering their former leaders' rhetoric surrounding folks that were not black. But the new guy seems to be more moderate and a little bit more temperate, at least in public.
And that's a problem I have. If you look at the demographics for who's buying more guns, who's getting more into the gun culture now, the gun culture 2.0 is what I would call it. It's women, it's minorities. It's hard for me. Like it used to be, I'd go to a gun range and it was all guys that looked like me.
Old fat white guys.
Yeah, like middle-aged white guys or white guys with crew cuts, right? And now I go to the gun range and it's last time I went to the gun range here in Maryland, there was a guy from Cambodia teaching his 2 kids how to fire a gun, and he just thought it was the most awesome thing in the world, that he had come from Cambodia and here he can have guns legally and he can use them and he can teach his sons how to use them. And I got to talk
Cambodia certainly wouldn't know anything about abuses of government power, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's probably why he's like, hey, look at this. If the government comes for me, I've got the ability to at least try and protect myself. I'm not going to be overrun without a fight. And I thought that was really interesting. So now when I go to the gun range, it's a lot different, even than it was 10 years ago. Now it's a lot different now.
I see all sorts of stories about that, actually, to the point that my business plan literally revolves around it, because I know gun stores. I know the area around here, and there's a lot of places that aren't particularly female friendly, or they're not gay friendly, or whatever. They're certainly not going to be hosting the Pink Pistols anytime soon, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And there's definitely kind of a problem, because unfortunately most gun store owners in particular are old fat white guys, and they're usually the older, crustier tier of old fat white guy. So they're even less likely to adapt, because you get the gems every now and then. There's this old guy down in Arizona who his range is freaking pretty much bumping disco music on at least one weekend day a month, because the Pink Pistols have come in like 30 plus numbers. And so you've seen an old grandpa shooting probably the freaking M1 Garand he brought back from Europe, and explaining just how he killed Nazis with it to two gay dudes in hot pants is something that you will never fucking get out of your head. But there's not a lot of room that's being created for these demographics that need firearms more than say typical, because there is I hate to use the word male privilege, and I hate to use the word privilege in general, but there is one privilege that as a self-defense instructor, I learned about really quickly, and I got a really harsh lesson about it once I had to start walking with a cane. My body deteriorated so significantly that I have trouble walking. I had never walked down a street before and been afraid, been nervous, been worried, but even when I didn't have a gun on me, okay, a situation comes up, I can probably handle it.
Yeah.
And being an able-bodied adult male is really quite a nice little perk in life. But going into this very defenseless position where I am now, not only am I much bigger on my concealed carry and much better about doing EDC, like a good little boy, but, and I'm not going to say I understand, it's very different for women. I've done enough interviews now in preparation for opening my training business next year, but I kind of get it. And if there's anyone that needs to have or to use the old Colt marketing slogan, God made man, Samuel Colt made him equal.
Yeah.
Equal for the old Peacemaker revolvers. It's not necessarily my demographic. It's literally everyone else.
Yeah, and it's these communities that the left were supposed to be looking out for all these years. The minority communities, the gay community. Armed gays don't get bashed. Mm-hmm. And I would encourage, if you live in a place where you are a LGBT member of that community and you are in a place where it's not friendly and it's slightly hostile, get a gun, learn self-defense, learn how to use it, take training, and arm yourself.
Even if they're not hostile in general, you never know whether that one nutcase redneck's going to come from. And
we just had a place on the DC Metro. Last night there was a story. There was a gay man that was disabled because of a stroke, and his partner on the train got jumped by 4 or 5 people after they tried to prevent them from stealing a teenager's property. They kind of stepped in to be good Samaritans, and then they got beaten up. And it took 4 to 5 stops for the train to stop before they could get help.
Yeah, there was a story here in St. Louis. I want to say it was late spring, early summer, and there was an elderly gentleman sitting in one of the front cars who had a cane, who was accosted and was beaten quite severely. And it kind of surprised me. It's like, dude, you're carrying 8 ounces of hickory. What are you not doing? That's like the only weapon you can legally carry on the train here without it suffering a misdemeanor. And if you're on a bus with anything more than a cane, it's a felony. Wow. So for a while there, I was working in downtown St. Louis, and I was thinking about taking some kinjutsu as well as carrying a hickory cane. But, well, that job changed, so I didn't have to worry about it anymore.
Like Blind Fury with Rutger Hauer.
Yeah, pretty much.
Have you seen that movie? He has that little sword in the cane because he's a blind man, so he has the little sword, and ninjas people away throughout the whole movie. That's one of my favorite movies from when I was a kid.
Oh, like Zatoichi?
That and Big Trouble in Little China, but
Oh, this sounds like Zatoichi.
Pretty close. It was based on The Blind Swordsman.
oh, okay,
But yeah, it was called Blind Fury when they had Rutger Hauer do it.
yeah.
I personally kind of like Hobo with a Shotgun. That's kind of
Yeah, that's another one of my favorites.
yes. That's good late Friday night prayer. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hobo with a Shotgun, and what's the one where it's like Postal or Snapped or something like that?
Falling Down. That's
Yeah,
like
Falling Down. That's it.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's a classic.
There's just so many beautiful scenes
I've ever seen in my entire life. 'Cause we're all just one bad day away from a snap. It's just like, why do you keep pushing us?
There have been days when I'm like, I'm this close to going Michael Douglas and falling down. I'm about an inch away.
That is the one thing I don't get. If we're all just, the act of owning a firearm makes us so volatile, why are they so insistent on pissing us off? You'd think they'd be like, look, just don't hurt me, man.
Yeah, they should be walking on eggshells. I mean, if we're just inherently violent people because we own firearms, they should be walking on eggshells around us at all times.
And then there's the ones that make an excellent case for not everybody being armed.
Yeah.
Spock? You guys know that Spock picture that's floating around the internet?
Oh, yeah.
Logic exists, Captain, that if pro-gunners were as violent as anti-gunners say they are, there wouldn't be any anti-gunners left.
Yeah.
We would have a purging of stupid people. I mean,
But the purging's the scary one, because that's where you get back into those guys who, truly do make the case against the Second Amendment by being people you really don't want to have a gun. Like,
Yeah.
the lady who's like, if I had a gun, I'd murder my husband. And I'm
Well,
like,
then don't buy a gun, ma'am.
guns, you just that you're waiting to murder your husband.
I wouldn't sell you a gun. You don't seem to have the temperament to own a gun. Yeah, or the people that come on and say, I mean, you see these posts all the time on like Moms Demand Action where it's like, if I see anybody open carrying a gun, I'm gonna kick them in the balls. I'm gonna take their gun and I'm gonna shoot them. If you want to get shot,
That's why we carry.
that's a good way to get shot.
That's why you have a bug. They get the rifle, they don't get the pistol, except the hard.
See, I like those guys more than I like the swatters, because those idiots are just confused and dumb, and if they do something stupid, they're going to pay the price. A swatter is just going to get someone murdered.
Right.
And waste a lot of tax dollars.
Right. I mean, just as an example, and I'm still pissed about this, Mr. Crawford out in, I believe, Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio, that guy.
And you know what? The fact that the shithead who called that in isn't doing time for murder one and involuntary manslaughter for that poor lady who had a heart attack
Yeah.
is horse crap.
If he honestly was a Marine, I have a sneaking suspicion that anybody from his squad has already had at least one blanket party since that event.
Oh, no, he's not a Marine. He's this old fucking fart who I don't think he even made it to boot camp. Like,
I
we're
thought
talking-
he said he.
Yeah.
I thought it came out that he got kicked out during whatever initial
He failed the mental evaluation for passing basic in the Marine Corps.
which is terrifying because we're nuts.
That's what I thought.
I am a Marine. We are fucking out there as a community. So if you're too crazy to join up, boy, I'm really worried about your mental stability, man.
Oh no, he joined. He just didn't make it through. It's like, wow, what did they find in his psyche?
I spent 15 months fighting with Marines in Ramadi, so yeah, I had my dose of Marines as an Army guy, and let's say that they're when I called them out to check for what I thought was a possible ID as I was escorting a convoy through their area, their idea of checking to see if it was an ID was buttoning up their tank and running over it, just to do a check to make sure it wasn't an IED.
Well,
It worked.
They're like, not an IED, it's all clear. Like, yep, I saw that. Good job. That's
That was
not
only a
right.
105 shell. I mean, that won't hurt of them one. It's fine.
if their tank is designed properly, that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, just blow the track off. You'll be fine.
That's an easy fix. I mean, come on, that's like
all
20
they need.
minutes.
They'll fix it. It's no problem.
Yeah.
Besides, it gives the boots something to do.
Yeah. Hey, driver, fix that track. I'll be over here smoking a cigarette.
That's basically what happens, yeah. Man, some of my favorite stories, Marine Corps-wise, just to jump off that on a completely wild topic, but you reminded me of some stuff we did in Phantom Fury, so the Second Battle of Fallujah. And obviously was not there, but I got some great stories about it. But my favorite one is beyond the ROE itself, which was if you were in the city, you were considered a hostile combatant for the most part. And if you had a camera or a cell phone in your hands, you were shoot on sight. Because that's bad freaking mojo, usually. Because they like to film, and what's a cell phone good for? Besides calling people, it's really great for detonating IEDs.
Yeah.
I like the story on that matter about the terrorist who got a telemarketer calling him while he was planting his bomb.
Yeah. But the funny thing that we switched over to in Fallujah is we stopped actually raiding buildings. So whenever we got hostile fire from a building, they'd just call up the combat engineers and they'd just crush it with an armored bulldozer.
What about artillery? Doesn't that work too?
It does, but we kind of wanted the city intact.
A little bit.
At least most of it.
Yeah.
What if it becomes necessary to destroy the city in order to save it?
No, that's what we did in Ramadi. We destroyed it and rebuilt it. And then we ran a 5K down it, and then ISIS came and took it over. So that was our adventure in Ramadi.
And now the Iraqi army is trying to retake it. My advice for them is to, this time, retreat toward the enemy.
I have a theory on that whole idea. I think the Kurds found a whole bunch of Iraqi army fatigues and started using them because their stuff was starting to get worn out from lack of replacements.
I thought it was from lack of use.
Oh, they look nice too. I mean, they got the nice.
All they do is fight.
They've been fighting for 2,000 years. We're not going to stop them.
Yeah, but that's a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah, it's pretty scary when you've got Sunni and Shia fighting alongside against Sunni and Shia. That's when scary shit happens, and that's what we have right now on the ground in Syria.
Yeah, don't remind me.
I keep saying that the ultimate tactic there is to just let Putin handle it. Let the Russians go in, let them put ground troops in, and let's sit back, make some popcorn, and watch, because that's going to be fucking funny.
The U.S. just sort of tiptoes out of Iraq, like, Putin, you got this? Because we're out. We're leaving, and just kind of sneak out in the middle of the night.
It's just going to be 10 years worth of gag reels, man. Let someone else stick their dick in the beehive.
And now El Chapo, the head of the most powerful Mexican drug cartel, is saying that he's going to get involved.
The Dutch biker gangs will keep them out. They don't want to lose any glory.
Yeah, seriously, Dutch biker gangs, mercenaries of every stripe, color, and freaking religion from around the world, NATO, Russia, China, and now the Mexican cartels. Is this like, I swear it's some weird fucking super dimensional Marvel crossover or something.
Nah, this is anime.
Oh, God.
Worse than that, this is Spain too.
Pretty soon the otakus are going to claim war on ISIS.
Yeah. So we're now joined by Brian, or Wolf Stannis.
Yeah.
After Stannis Baratheon, or
Wolf Stannis.
Wolf Stannis. All right.
Yep.
And you are from which of our?
Anti-gunners say the darndest things.
Oh man, yeah, that's one of my favorites. Because they do say the darndest.
I started the page because I was pissed off.
It is better to be pissed off than pissed on.
Depends if you're into that fetish.
No,
I was going to say, man, there's some people out there.
One of them was Adolf Hitler. We don't like being like that guy.
Oh, I think old Adolf was a lot more than just water sports.
Well, he was a vegan, so no one cares.
From what I understand about Adolf Hitler, he's apparently was a very dedicated partner to Ava. His cousin was a vegetarian, a vegan. No, excuse me, he was a full vegan. That's right, Brian. And an animal lover. Generally, the nicest liberal you'd ever meet. He just kept killing
See, that's the scary thing. Both he and Mussolini were kicked out of the socialist movement because they were trying to take over the socialist movements in Austria and in Italy. That's the main reason why Adolf Hitler went into Germany, was he basically got kicked out of Austria.
So he was too nice.
He
Just wanted to take him over. He didn't want to destroy him. He was just wanted to take him over, so he was too nice.
I do love that photo that makes the rounds every now and then, the subtitled clips from one of Hitler's home movies where he's flirting with Eva Braun. Man, that is fucking surreal, and it should be, because it reminds you that evil can be surprisingly normal, at least in a public face.
Well, that you find something nice to say about.
Well, even in his private life, he was rather normal. It's just he had the means, so he did.
Yeah.
Speaking of Hitler and anti-Semitism, though, did you guys see the post I put up for Rifles and Reason earlier, featuring that lovely headline from the New York Daily News?
Oh, from Stasi?
Yeah.
Her.
Yeah, straight from the East German Intelligence Service. Basically saying it's okay that NRA member in the terrorist attack was murdered because he's a Jew.
Yeah, someone else shared a picture, and I go, "Oh, look how nice these people are." Aw, victim blaming. They're so nice.
Well, it's hard to paint red signs if you don't have blood on your hands, right?
Yeah, no shit. But so are we getting back to like left-wing anti-Semitism? Is that a thing now? Apparently.
Is that where it's going?
Well, that's
More like
what I'm referring to in my posts. Some of my posts. Basically, Cold War era propaganda is going on. I just made a post recently. They're investigating a girl on terrorism because of an emoji or whatever.
The fuck?
Which one was that?
What?
This is my most recent post on my page. They're investigating a girl for basically terrorism or just kicking her out of school or whatever because she made an emoji that had an emoji bomb on it. It was like a cow, a smiley face,
Well, you know
That's
what
like
that
saying-
means.
and a bomb.
That's like if you use an emoji poop, you're saying you're a coprophiliac. What the fuck?
And that was on my local news, and I just started going off on people going, hey, yeah, let's beat those Pinko Reds. Oh, wait, this is the wrong era.
Well, you know
She
what
should have
comes
made
back-
that bomb out of pizza.
Well, it would have been better if she did a bomb and the little handgun emoji.
Well, if she what she should have done is she should have explained to her administration that it was clock.
They're not taking any risks, is what they're saying.
Oh,
Better
it's
safe than
clock?
sorry.
Yeah, that was a dangerous. I'm sure it was a dangerous-looking clock emoji.
That zero tolerance policy will get you every time.
Oh, the emoji was invited to the White House.
Good for the emoji. I'm glad for
Yes.
Well, good for them.
that. The emoji will later sue the school district for $11 million.
No, it's 15 million.
Will
Oh,
the emoji
15.
make the guitar?
15.
We have.
And
Sorry,
then
we have to be
the
correct.
emoji will meet with brutal genocidal former dictator of Sudan and move to the Middle East in one of those Gulf
Wait,
states that's
former
supported.
genocidal? You can just quit genocide?
It's like sport, man. You go pro and then you have to retire.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hang up the gas
Genocidal
chamber
former
lever.
dictator.
Now, does running out of targets count?
No, you just switch targets. It's priority.
That's basically what happened to Stalin.
Retire when you're
Damn it,
up.
I can't kill anyone else. What the hell?
Stalin was
No,
a
he had
hipster.
plenty of targets. Just look at how many pictures changed between 1950 and 1954.
You gotta retire when you're on the
I do
upswing.
have some communist friends that really don't like it too much when I start pulling out some history on them. And then they start asking, okay, well, which country is working with socialism right now? I'm like, shut up. That's not fair.
Side note, though, it looks like we just got joined by my boss, the Armed Skeptic, my editor-in-chief,
Swing in for a little while.
Leaderus Maximus, random Asian med student.
Pre-med.
He's a.
And then after he graduates, he's going to learn how to make drugs for people.
Licensed.
I didn't know you were Walter White.
What?
I didn't know you were Walter White.
Pre-cancer Walter White.
Free cancer.
If
Not
my
really.
senior admin ever shows up, we'll just hear stories about the airborne and how awesome they are. Until they find out you're a
Air Force.
specialist and kick you out.
Yeah, that guy got fucked over bad.
Well, it can only get worse when you break your back in the last stateside jump and still deploy. Things just don't go well after that.
Oh,
And I
my
think
dad.
being an expert witness and a courts martial of your second lieutenant, yeah, that doesn't really make you a whole bunch of friends in the service.
He was a
Dude.
first lieutenant.
Oh, that's right. He did get a promotion before he got canned.
Who was that?
Lawrence?
Prince Lawrence.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy that ex-Colonel West likes to defend for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that's because West liked to beat on the brown folks also. So I guess that makes sense that you defend Lawrence.
Yeah, Alan West is my least favorite figure in all of American politics.
Yeah, I really wish he'd have fought the suggestion that he retire. That'd have been a much more entertaining courts martial to sit through.
Yeah,
I mean,
I heard the stories. I've only heard stories. I have no inside knowledge.
Oh yeah, I don't have any inside knowledge on that, but yeah, as far as first lieutenant, that's kind of how I ended up with this admin gig. I was the senior admin's basically confidant there for a bit. Of course, at the time it was before he managed to kick the booze and become a regular human being again, so there wasn't a whole lot of other people that were willing to listen to him rant. But yeah, I got to hear a lot about that court case that never made the airwaves. And yeah, that dude deserves to be under Leavenworth.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
Well, he can start from the top and work himself down.
I'm sure that's what she says. Sorry, can't resist.
You mean that's what he says?
Yeah, hey. Speaking of political figures that I kind of really wish would shut up already, am I the only one who every time Trump opens his mouth about guns, I just kind of stick my fingers in my ears? Just please stop.
Wait, what did he say?
Anything he says about anything, just shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up.
I think
no,
it's because
I
it
wanna
seems
get to
disingenuous.
Mussolini quotes. I swear he's no more than 4 days away from starting to quote Benito Mussolini. There's so many Mussolini quotes that if you take the word Italy out and put in America, you're going to find all kinds of things sounding really, really familiar.
make
Of course,
Italy
nobody's mad at me
great
if
again.
he wants to do a Facebook game of Mussolini, Hitler, or Trump. So I got to kind of keep that on the down low a little bit.
Well,
Make
that's okay.
Italy
You're already on the
great
watch
again,
list, so it
right?
doesn't matter.
And if you
Yeah,
weren't,
but-
you are now.
I'll be part of the mass exodus to Canada if he does win, so I don't care.
His watch list will be huge.
And if Ben
He's
Harris,
not going to have a watch list. Let's be very clear. President
He's
Trump
gonna have a
wouldn't be
road
watching things.
no, he'd have a billboard or 5. Very small font so he can fit all the names on it, the people he doesn't like. Just let them know what's up.
Yeah,
no,
he'd just
no,
make a
they
press
Black
conference
bag
for
in
it.
the middle of the night and end up in a
Like you.
If your name's not on that list, you're doing something wrong.
Well, that's why I posted the one link on my page. You just click on it and you're on the list.
Doing the rounds to see if anybody's posted questions or anything.
I can't keep up with my page. I just let it go at this point.
Yeah, we take it in shifts. We just largely post memes that folks just start sharing like wildfire, so
Yeah.
kind of easy.
I started doing the videos just because it was easier for me to talk than it is for me to write. So I just started doing the videos where I just talk, put some pictures behind it, and it seems to be a lot easier than trying to type everything out or find something to match
Yeah,
what
that
I'm
takes a
saying.
big chunk of time.
Most of my stuff is just I make a quick quip of sarcasm and stupidity and post an image to go along with it.
Well, they write the content for you, which is great.
I know.
You can always count on them to be as dumb as shit and not know anything and just say something really stupid. Just screen cap.
Yeah, I
bet
just did take a bunch of screen caps of a conversation I had, and I'm just waiting for the hour to be up for my most recent post.
Yeah, screen
Oh.
cap post.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, that got deleted. Nice.
What did?
So I was just checking up on, speaking of like page trolls and stuff, I posted a meme earlier that was sent in from a fan of our page explaining that they banned the 50 BMG, and it's never been used in the commission of a crime ever, but it might be. So they banned it. And some guy jumped in on there and was like, well, you don't need an anti-material rifle. Well, you don't need to tell me what I need, Cupcake. So
Well,
I'm going to tell you, you
if
need to
he's
go
not-
get your period. Go finish having your first period. And
Well, if the
you know,
person
generally
doesn't wanna-
that theme and guys, how about we explain in general why a 50 cal is really not that big a deal? Just for the class.
It costs $10,000. It's 3 to 4 feet long, and it's 25 pounds.
Well, now you can get one that's only $3,000, but it's bolt action and weighs about 22 pounds.
Well, I can get a semi-auto one for my AR, but
There's
that's
a-
still 5,000.
There's a $7,000 one that's a scaled up AK-47 now. That'll be shipping next year, just in
But
time for holidays.
it's proprietary parts. Getting new parts is going to be very difficult. Ammo is expensive as fuck.
Right, and I mean, even with the
And
AK,
most ranges don't have the range where it can be used.
and even with the like AK one, calling it portable or concealable
Oh
is
my god.
really stretching the English language more than it probably should.
They
be.
haven't ever held a full-length rifle before, have they?
Yeah.
Well,
No,
there's-
this guy came in from nowhere, and I'm pretty sure he hasn't done almost anything with his life. Uh-oh. Hold on one sec. Hey! Drop that.
Aw, your cat.
No, dog.
Cat.
Ivy's a dog. She's even a big dog. She's
Cat.
just being a little pain in the ass.
No, I have
Hey,
a dog
you-
that thinks he's a cat.
You destroyed the shit out of this bone, dog. The hell is this? There's some weird ass damn. Oh, okay, it's like the squeaker thing.
Oh,
Just
I thought
making
it
sure.
was a Glock.
No, the dog deserves higher quality chew toys.
Yeah, I'm looking at that post that you were talking about, Eric.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I guess those comments weren't in the actual
Holy.
comment thread, but it was like on a share.
Something like that. I swear it was in the actual thread.
Nope. It's in a share. I'm looking at it right now, but
Oh, okay.
oh my god, this guy is obtuse.
Well, whatever.
Oh,
Send it to
okay, so-
Brian so we can farm him for fucking
Oh,
content.
Do
This
I
one-
really want this cancer?
There's literally days where I just look at threads and I just send the link to Brian and just walk away. I wash my hands of it. Do with him as you
I don't
will.
even read half of them, and I just make a comment for it. I just read like the title or something, and I'll just make a comment. It's like, yep, that's what happened. Because all they do is just copy paste their arguments. There's nothing.
It's refreshing to see them come up with something new, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're getting smarter.
Yeah, and
Well,
it's
that's
rare.
why. That's why I made one meme for their argument style. I'm still waiting for something for them to come up with, and it shows Goku, and on the bottom it says next time on Dragon Ball Z.
The creativity on that side is just not there because they're taking all their arguments from whatever head authority figure, whether it's
Well, they
Bloomberg or whatever comes out of Shannon Twatt's mouth. And
they
just
have
take
to
that,
remain
put it on
ignorant.
paper. Yeah.
And it's hard for them to create new content while still having the prerequisite of remaining ignorant.
Yeah, that's the difficult part. Speaking of Shannon, though, man, I love it when she does press conferences now, because you can really, someone pointed out to me, you can really see the exact moment that the Xanax kicks in. You
They're
can
gonna be
just
down
kind
here
of
tomorrow.
see the
I can't
last
post.
bit of light in her eyes die.
They're
I
gonna be
can't
down here in
post
DC
pictures
tomorrow.
of Xanax anymore.
Has it been outlawed or
No, Facebook keeps on removing it
what?
and suggesting phone keeps on suggesting phone numbers and websites for psychological help in Ireland.
The thing I don't get with Shannon is how anyone can believe that Moms Demand Action is a legit grassroots group. I'm sorry, executive vice presidents for marketing, and this takes nothing away from Monsanto, because I don't mind them as a company at all, but an executive VP for marketing does not just go and become a housewife.
Oh, and she's from my
Here's-
hometown too.
Here's
which is
another
nice.
thing. How can it be a grassroots group that was started by a mogul, a multi-million-dollar mogul, who used to be a mayor?
Well,
It's the fucking oligarchs.
Allegedly, Shannon started it and then allied herself with Michael Bloomberg, curiously right before they would have to reveal any funding records.
No,
by
wait,
United
wait,
States
wait,
law.
wait.
I
That
was about to
bullshit.
say that about how right at the end of the year before they would have to do that, they ended up merging so they wouldn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
That-
I personally don't trust anything that the public public interface for Mel
Yeah.
Carnahan has to say. Because before she worked for Monsanto, she was in charge of public relations for Senator Mel Carnahan, whose corpse beat Donald Rumsfeld for governor of Missouri.
Oh, that's right.
Don't worry, we have Nixon from Missouri.
Yeah, for now.
Not a
He's
crook.
a lame duck. This is his last little bit of time here, and then he gets to go away, so he won't be missed. Probably won't be primary.
He might veto his own leaving.
Oh, I'm sure he could get Democrats and Republicans together to override that veto. It's happened before, at least with the bills the NRA didn't help out with. One that they did
Well, at
help,
least not as bad as our
it didn't get past the veto.
Hey, speaking of vetoes in the NRA, though,
telecommunity.
speaking of vetoes in the NRA, actually, this is another good one because we've got pretty much nationwide coverage here, a little heavily represented from Colorado between me and Brian. But just your guys' perspective on your local, because the narrative we usually see in the media is that, and I don't think this is in any way true, but it's that gun control is winning on a state level. And outside of Washington, I don't think any really major advances have actually been made, unless you count the jackass governor in Connecticut basically saying he wants due process gone.
Well, are you guys familiar with who Baghdad Bob was?
Oh, yeah.
Baghdad Bob. I love Baghdad Bob.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't he have a hard
Favorite
hat
cartoons
and some
growing
helmets?
up.
American tanks were rolling behind him. He's like, there are no Americans in Iraq.
Oh,
We
that guy.
defeated them all.
Oh.
We've
Yeah.
defeated all the Americans, and there's like guys standing on tanks, screaming behind him, pulling down the Saddam statue, and he's just completely denying that there are any Americans in Iraq at all.
Like
Yeah.
I said, one of
My
my
dad and I
favorite
watched
cartoon
that, and we were
characters.
laughing our asses off.
Baghdad Bob.
Yeah, he was the Red Joker. I'm serious. In the 52 card deck that they were passing out, he was the Red Joker.
He
Muhammad
was definitely a
Said
Joker.
al-Sahaf.
Yeah, so what do you want to say about Baghdad Bob?
The restrictionists really remind me of that guy.
Oh, yeah. They're in denial.
Yeah, you guys should check into Baghdad Bob now. He's actually been doing some interesting stuff in media. Or not
So-
just media, but he's been doing some interesting stuff.
Is he saying that the Iraqi government has full control over Ramadi and Mosul?
Yeah, and Iraqi Airlines flights are going in and out of the Baghdad airport all the time.
The interesting thing I've just seen kind of connected to that, though, as far as them being in denial, there was a great quote that I actually used in a pitch presentation for my investors just the other week. While I was at the Craner School of Business Management, Purdue University, and it's from. I'm going to paraphrase. It's from one of the former presidents, the head of the National Shooting Sports Foundation, or National Sports Shooting Foundation. Jesus, they had to make that as painful as possible. Anyway, basically sums up as we've entered a golden age for firearms. And if you look at NICS checks, yeah, last couple of years we've been hitting consistently 20 million background checks a year.
Thanks.
But you know, it's all just people in my demographic buying more guns. You know, it's old white guys.
Or me. I just don't control the local gun store, and now they won't even let me do background checks without purchasing the gun.
Yeah, we can thank Obama for all of
They're dicks.
But I mean, it is kind of thanks to Obama. But even when he wasn't really harping hard on gun control last year, the numbers still stayed high. And whatever the guy's name was saying, and what I think has happened is people have realized it's okay to like guns. Enough people have had it shoved in their faces long enough that they've actually started to pay attention just a little bit and dug into just a few facts and realized, oh, this isn't a bad thing. It's okay if I like this.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of people coming out saying, where the argument is, well, you don't need guns, you just like them. And a lot of us have just been saying,
Who cares?
Yeah.
So what?
So what?
Yeah, that's about the size of it.
Yeah. And what are you going to do about it? You going to come take them from me? No, I didn't think so. Okay. All right, so that's where we're at.
Yeah,
No,
I
they're
have
not
that
taking
conversation. It's always entertaining. Well, you just like guns. And what's your point, Shirt Cube? You seem to like any of the shit in your life. I'm not about to come take that away from you. You could give someone a nasty paper cut with those comic books.
Yeah.
But they can kill people, Eric.
Well, so can any amateur chemist with the basic contents of your home freaking
could.
dishwasher.
But they're only designed to kill people. Oh, yeah.
No, well, I just got into that argument yesterday. There's some stupid small group I'm a part of, and the guy brought up the cars argument, and he's like, well, something blah, blah, blah about cars. I'm like, oh, so let's whip out the cars argument. And he's like, guns are only made to kill. So I said, oh, that's great. So a device that is made to kill only kills about 30,000 people a year. But a car, which is designed not to kill people, kills 30,000 people a year. So a killing machine kills as many people as the killing machine. So I think we've got this.
I'm going to argue that we can't use the full 30,000 number for gun deaths. Just on the grounds of there's been multiple studies done now that show
12,000 are homicides and accidents.
Huh?
Around 12,000 if you exclude suicides.
Right, because the suicide rate by gun will go down if you implement gun control. The suicide rate, however, does not usually go down.
Actually, the successful on first try does tend to go down. And I tend to refer to the suicide by gun as the big elephant in the room. It's something that a lot of people don't like talking about, and a lot of people that are pro-gun that worship Reagan have no clue what the hell they're talking about, because under Reagan we started seeing the stuff that Carter put in and Carter's Congress put in to fix the mistakes made by JFK when it came to healthcare. It was starting to turn around, but it was starting to cost money. And while those folks don't vote and they don't fund trips like half of the special interests do, so we don't need those people to have healthcare. They can just go in the streets, and then you end up with people that are in families that are good friends of, say, your vice president, showing up trying to impress his girlfriend that doesn't know exists, and you get shot by one of them. Kind of funny how that works.
Yeah, I mean, my general take on suicide, and this will piss some people off because I am a veteran, and I'm very active with Battle and Distress and other groups, so I'm not pro-suicide. However, if you are a adult of sound mind, relatively sound mind, an able body, like you're not completely fucking screw loose crazy, it's your life. I see no reason you shouldn't be able to take it if you don't want it.
Well,
if you want to pull the plug early, that is completely on you. I'm going to do my best to stop you, but if you're not going to listen and that's desperately your option, your pick, you're a grown fucking adult.
And you're not going to stop them. Even if you remove one tool, they'll find the next tool.
Right.
No, all we have to do is just ban death, like the UK did.
Yeah, I say we should make
that
it a
stop.
capital offense to attempt suicide.
I like the Bill Engvall response to that because apparently you can be sentenced to death for suicide in
Yes.
some states.
It
And
depends on what method you try to use.
right. And I like Bill Engvall's response to that.
Yeah, that's probably going to get it.
Isn't that like punishing someone for going on a hunger strike by sending them to bed with no dinner?
Yep. Death penalty for attempted suicide. Oh my god.
I mean, making them wait for it is kind of a... Actually, if you think about it, it's cruel and unusual punishment because now you're going to make them wait. That's
And the decision's been taken away from them as well, so you got that on top of it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where the suicide rate and suicide in general is something that we're really not comfortable talking about in the United States in general because we're really not comfortable talking about mental health. We don't know how to talk about it, and it's one of the reasons that 22 veterans are checking out every day because we don't know how to talk about it as a culture.
It's not just suicide, it's violence in general. We
Right.
are a violent country. Whether you want to admit it or not, we are a violent country, founded on violence. We are willing to use violence to force others into our will. If you go by the Chomskyite example, we will respond to violence with bigger and greater violence.
Peace through superior firepower.
Yeah, and I sometimes
And it's
that's
worked
what
to
you have
the
to do.
certain
Yeah, sometimes that's what you have to do. But we are a violent country, and I mean, people don't want to admit that. People want to think we're this hippie, lovey-dovey country. We're not. We never have been, and we never will be.
The weird thing is I noticed gun owners backing down from that. It's like, no, let's be perfectly honest here. You're carrying a gun. You have in your power the ability to easily terminate another human being's existence. And if you're not owning up to that mentally, you really need to go have a sit down with yourself, a mirror, and possibly some whiskey, because you need to have a conversation with yourself.
No,
about the abilities you're taking on.
No, I didn't. I already had this conversation with myself, and I disagreed completely. My gun is a fashion statement.
It better be bedazzled then.
It has black and blue shiny grips on it, and it's stainless. It's a fashion statement.
There you go.
Oh, are you some sort of Mexican drug lord or a third world dictator?
No, that's on my that's on my Commander 1911. It has rainbow grips.
You wear those little pointy boots?
He is from California.
No, I wear combat boots.
Oh, no, wait, that's
That
Brian,
one's
excuse me. I need to get my FNFAL painted up freaking turquoise and baby shit at camo so it can really truly be a fashion statement.
I'm really
short shorts and boots.
I'm really wanting to Cerakote mine.
Who does like the Rhodesian FAL paint job?
No, I fucking think it's horrible. I'm of the opinion that when they started getting away from wood grips for the FAL, they murdered that weapon. But I believe that all weapons should be made of wood, steel, and the blood of communists.
That's why I got the G3.
Right?
Za Rodinu, za Stalina, ura!
You know what? You're going to start making me start quoting Liberty Prime right now.
Oh, God.
Communism is a small step on the road to liberty.
Communism is death.
Death is a preferable alternative to communism.
Have we all
Better
played
than
that game?
dead than red. Yes, and apparently I have about 16, no, not 16, about 15 suits of power armor.
Nice.
4 of which are XO1.
No, I meant Fallout 3, not 4.
Who cares about Fallout 3 right now?
Right, you can just play it again in Boston.
I know.
See, that's the funny thing. They try to tell you that the enemies are super mutants in Boston. They're not super mutants. They're just normal Bostonians. They're all that ugly, bad-tempered.
No,
Why
see,
would I want to play a game in Boston when I can play one that's here in D.C.? We're better than them, right?
You're
Well, you
DC. Nobody cares. Dude, that's why I got
They
We're all
were
just
going to get nuked in the first place.
That's the whole country is hoping the meteor falls there. That's the reality of DC.
I'm wanting to see one in Colorado because of all the military bases and whatnot here.
See, Colorado would be hard, though. We don't really have any population density for anything really interesting.
You got Denver.
Yeah,
I'm
the
hoping
idea-
for
It's like the suburb of Baltimore.
Then you got the mountains.
Yeah, that we do have. We've got neo-Nazis in the mountains, too. So
And then we
there's
got
always
like what, 2 Air Force bases, Army base, fuck the Marines.
right here, just in Colorado Springs, we've
Yeah.
got 1 major Army base, 2 Air Force bases, the Air Force Academy, and NORAD. There are 6
NORAD
major
doesn't have it
combatants.
because they retired it.
It's
Oh, and then we got the Mint prison. We got
the Crystal
prison
City's there.
I
Crystal
say
City's
that
still active. But no, there's 6 major combatant commands here, and then there's shit up in Denver.
Yeah. See, Colorado Springs, right there.
We've got
Military USA. Military Town USA. The
I
prototype.
know.
Almost as bad as San Antonio. There's an Air
Robert
Force base, 2
Heinlein
Army bases.
specifically picked Colorado Springs as his place where he lived because he was expecting that to be the last of the major cities on the nuke list. And right after he moved over there and built a house there, they set up NORAD.
Yeah, that is the one thing I'm actually really comfortable with in the event of a nuclear war. I'm not going to have to die of radiation poisoning. I'm just done. And I'm
According
okay
to-
with that.
According to Fallout logic, you might survive,
Oh, great.
and you
Yeah,
will become a ghoul.
Well, I hope I get to see Canada go first. They haven't done
Um,
anything to me. I just kind of want to watch.
Eric,
Henry will be
Marcus
happy.
and I are in DC. We're a bit higher up on the nuke list than you are.
But we'll be fried, so we don't have to worry about the fallout.
Not much higher. I mean, NORDCOM is a pretty significant target.
I think Boeing's still a primary, so St. Louis is gone.
Yep. Oh, yeah, no. Major defense contractor.
Yeah, between the fact that the crater would change exactly where the confluence of the Missouri and the Mississippi are. We've also got the New Madrid, so anything that falls down in Arkansas or down in Louisiana, we're taken up by the tidal wave coming upriver. So there you go.
Yeah, the New Madrid Fault had a couple of those earthquakes when I was growing up in Indiana. So
And if
pulled
we're
a
really
couple of those
lucky,
shakers.
if anything positive happens, it'll trigger the San Andreas Fault, and California will finally be free to go do its own thing.
Oh, did you see
So
the
it's gonna be Free Willy.
There was a post about 2 hours ago that's been making the rounds that basically all it takes is one good-sized dam burst in the Sacramento area, and we may actually see California disappear.
Dude.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, you gonna move yet, buddy?
Where?
Anywhere.
East Laurentians will be all right.
Getting back to
You
Sacramento.
can move to DC. They're pretty much like California, right?
No, we're not.
They got-
Surprisingly, it's worse.
There's
No,
no
you want to
sun,
move to
there's no
Florida. Older
Yeah,
population,
no,
older, more
I don't
peaceful
wanna have to
population,
use,
same amount of cocaine.
a bunch of fucking yuppies.
Hey, Eric,
They're
has
fucking
our
cupcake
favorite
shops.
crazy Odin worshiper talked about sabotaging a Colorado dam in response to the idea that if a California dam, sabotaging a California dam in response to the idea that if a dam bursts in California, the whole state will fall into the ocean?
Wait, what?
Wait, did he watch that one South Park episode and get that idea or something?
No, apparently NOAA just released. I forget exactly which government agency released it, but apparently, if 2 of the dams in the San Andreas area were to break, then it could conceivably cause a serious rift in that fault, and we could actually see what they were predicting back in the 80s of the island of North California forming about 30 miles off the coast of the U.S.
Well, this contradicts everything I've seen on TV.
Gee,
Yeah,
funny
my
people-
whole
TV says it's California will just sink into the ocean, and then some dude will fly a helicopter through a skyscraper.
Look, you guys can joke all you want. I got serious real estate money riding on this, so I got a bunch of fucking condos ready to roll in Arizona. What is Arizona desert land right now, baby?
Yeah, oceanfront property with beach.
Oh yeah, I'm selling it right now as beachfront property in approximately 30 to 50 years. So
We should wait and only let the people who I like leave California.
Yeah, I'm downwind of the Sacramento River right now, so not just yet, guys. Not just yet.
Nah, it has to
Hey,
happen.
Oregon's pretty. Oregonians don't want to see any more Californians, though, but hey, it's pretty there.
Argonians.
actually, we really don't want to see more Californians here. I don't know why they keep coming to Colorado, but we'd like to make them stop.
Yeah, I fucking hate California drivers. They're retarded.
Well, they're not
And Californians in general.
Actually, I've had one negative incident open carrying. Back when I was in Arizona, I couldn't legally see CCW yet, so I was just rocking open because I could. And this lady from California, just day tripping, freaked the fuck out. Called the cops, hit me with her bag.
Was she yelling, he's going to kill us all?
No, she didn't
That's
quite
what
go
happened to
that
me.
far. That would have been funny, though. But generally
That's a
freaking
different
out.
woman.
And so the cop shows up. It's actually a cop I know because I had just done a funeral for a Marine who then spent 20 years on working for both local LEAs. And after he retired from the Marine Corps and then the Sheriff's Department and Police Force, he spent the rest of his life as a volunteer until he finally fucking croaked. Like, Jesus, dude, what? Get a... There's internet porn now, man. Come on. Take a break. Take 5. Smoke a cigarette. Do something. But this deputy talks to me briefly for a minute and tells me to just get the fuck out and leave. And I hear from behind me, "You're just letting him go? He's got a gun." Ma'am, I'm trying to explain to your dumb hippie ass that that's perfectly legal here.
I had something similar like that happen to me at the Loaf and Jug up on Academy. Or
Really?
not Academy. Yeah, up on, the overpass on Academy.
Yeah.
There's a Loaf and Jug off to the right, and this
Right.
overpass didn't exist back then. And I had a woman call the cops on me over there. And I got tackled, sort of, kind of, as in to the ground. It's where my M&P at the time got a scratch on it. I'm still upset. And I was just filling up my car. I was open carrying because I was in my car, and I can. And what happened was she saw me walk out or get out of the car. She saw my gun, went inside, and immediately called the police, telling them that I was going to kill everybody. And the police came over, and I saw the front end of the police car jump up right into the air because it has a ramp, and he jumps out, yells something, get onto the ground, some other stuff. I'm confused and completely out of it because it was like at 12 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I do as he says. He's on my back with his knee directly on between my shoulder blades. He takes my gun, slides it across the ground to his partner or whatever. Doesn't hand it. He just slides the fucking thing.
Jesus.
Then the other guy looks at me and goes, "I know you." Me goes, "Okay, yeah, he's fine. All he does is just open carry. He's fine." "What were you doing?" I was filling up my truck. "Okay. Can you follow us?" My hands are still in cuffs. Go inside, and inside the Loaf and Jug, because that's where the woman told the police she was going to be waiting. And she goes, "He's gonna kill us all. You have a gun." "Okay, you can go, sir." I walk out, and they start arresting her, and I...
It's a falsified 911 call.
Yeah. I was filling up my truck. She told them I was going to kill everybody. When they came up, I'm sitting there by my truck, filling it up with my guns in the holster. It's like, well...
I mean, isn't there a sort of projection, though, in a lot of all these anti-gunners? It's like, I know what I would do if I had a gun. I would shoot everyone. So I don't want you to have a gun because I know what I would do if I had one. Because I'm a fucking psychopath. So I don't think you should have one because I'm a psychopath.
I had one anti-gunner on my page. He deleted his comment, but he said, I own a gun and I carry it, and sometimes for giggles, I point it at people to see the reaction.
Fucker.
It's like, you motherfucker.
That reaction should be death. Like, you should be dead. If you're just pointing your gun at people, you should be dead.
I told him, if you did that to me, I would shoot you, no questions asked.
I'm not going to say anything. Yeah, I'm just going to shoot you. Well, I mean, I wouldn't in DC. In DC, I would have to beg for forgiveness for making you point your gun at me.
At work, I have to actually look at the ground and turn my back to the person who has the gun.
Yeah, and you have to hand them everything too. That's part of the law here. You
Yeah.
just hand them everything out of your pockets and.
Yeah, that's. Did you guys hear the worst one of those? Is the guy who actually went through with it. This fucking cracker, and that's the only way to describe this dude, because he's so white bread you could freaking sell him.
No, you say that, and I already picture the guy. So.
And yeah, no, the typical white bread, well-heeled liberal tackles this poor old black guy in what would be a problem in any other situation for liberal America.
So,
But he's happened to see a flash of this guy's concealed weapon, and from what I remember, this guy was like late 50s, early 60s. It's not like he's banging, you know.
yeah.
You know, he's not flashing colors for the fucking Crips or Bloods anymore, man. Dude's retired from that life if he was ever about it.
He was never. I think he was an army vet or something.
Yeah, no, that's what he was. But even if you don't know that and you just assume he's a former violent criminal, he's in his 60s. Better calm the fuck down. But I really do applaud that guy for being calm enough to not shoot that fucker off his back.
So,
Because I
the
would.
image I just posted in the chat, was that the way the little guy looked as he was tackling the person?
Yeah, basically. Darker hair and no glasses, but yeah, basically. Oh, hey, just as a quick side note, this is a great line that I'd like to share with you guys. Do you guys follow Unbiased America at all?
Yeah.
They've got some,
That's not my stuff, but no.
some pretty good lines there. Well, they're coming back on that white police officer who suddenly realized the thin blue line isn't covering him raping 13 women.
Uh-huh.
So, obviously, result was guilty. And some guy on the page is complaining, get back to economics, enough of the race post. We get enough of that on 101 other Facebook pages. So the page where the admin responds, the supply of former police officers being anally raped in jail is about to increase, though the demand is so high that it will likely not be met. Damn. Freaking, that is some rough fucking shit. Though some guy is complaining that he's not white. Okay. He's half cracker. He's got some. He's his mom's Asian apparently. So okay, what's your point?
That's like the one guy who was arguing on my page, complaining about all he is there on in society, and he's spewing all this hate, all this anger. And it's like, well, guy, you're feeding your own image. What was he saying? He was saying he wishes to build a new society on Caucasian backs at the same time of complaining about how people treat him. And he goes, it's okay, I'm half white. That's not how that works, guy.
Nope.
I don't know. It depends on what state you're in. I think the one drop law
He's
is
in Colorado. He actually lives in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, Brian and I live in the same city. We've never met up.
He lives on Fort Carson.
I do?
No, the
okay.
guy I complained about. I went after his job a bit. And his
nice.
career.
All right. Well, I'm about to bug out. Got to attend a friend's surprise party.
Oh.
Well, you're in California, so I guess that's safe.
But it's only like, what, 8 o'clock there?
Yeah, I mean, he's coming back at 9, so I gotta swing by his place. He's a big Fetty Wap fan though, so we got him a 1738 Remy Martin, and plus Glock for his Ferrari. Except he doesn't have a Ferrari, so just the Glock.
Ew, Glock. You know what happened the last time I touched a Glock?
When?
Never.
Well then.
I touched a Glock once. I was in therapy for years. The ironic part is my last name. Everyone on the fucking planet is like, "Oh, Glock's your favorite gun, right?" Even non-gun people are like, "Oh, so you're into Glocks, huh?"
Yeah, I know a Polish guy who's got the name Glock in his name too, and
Yep. Yeah, and it's just like, I'm halfway to fucking changing my name legally to Smith & Wesson.
Smith hyphen Wesson.
Or I'll change it to something like really ridiculous, like CZ, just to really be a dick about it.
Just change your name to North South and your last name to East West.
Nah.
There you go.
Then I'll go with Fabrique Nationale. That way it sounds French to dumb white girls.
Yeah.
No, just change your name to Showchat.
Alright. Well, I'll catch this recording later. I will catch you guys another time.
We'll see you later. I'm about to bug out too because I have to go lay reads at Arlington tomorrow. So I will be walking around Arlington all morning and all afternoon. So
appreciate you doing that, man.
And so we've got Brian from Anti-Gunners Say the Darndest Things. We have Eric from Eric with the photo.
The photo?
Seawolf.
I'm Seawolf, also Eric.
Yeah, from
Rifles and Reason.
Rifles and Reason. Eric from The Armed Proletariat. Go check out his page if you're looking for a left-leaning socialist perspective on gun rights and gun ownership in America. We have Sam from a page not to be named, and the Godless Guntard, a.k.a. fucking liberals against gun control, although it might be slightly less liberal now, just because, I don't know, fucking liberals.
No, the page is not Republican because guns and the NRA.
Yeah, and so liberals hate me. So
the NRA's bought you off, man.
Yeah, I just use all that money.
Yeah, why did you show FBI statistics? That's bought by the NRA.
Between the NRA and Monsanto, I better start getting some fucking shill checks here soon, because I got some serious fucking back pay.
I'm still trying to check my white privilege, so you have a way to go.
You gotta check yourself before you wreck yourself.
All right, gents. Have a good night.
Have a good night. And that'll wrap up this one. Hope to see you guys back on another one whenever we do it again.
Yep.
Yay.